Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, How Benefit Cosmetics Delivers Files Faster Using Amazon S3 Connector for Cumulus. The speakers today are Steve Kent, who's the Digital Asset Manager at Benefit Cosmetics, Michael Gellner, CTO of Modula 4, and me, I'm John Hornstein. I'm Modula 4 CEO. So on today's agenda, first, Steve Kent is going to talk about the challenges that Benefit Cosmetics faced in distributing files globally and the solution that we presented. He's going to give a demo from the user end of things, and then he's also going to present some metrics to show the improvement in download speeds worldwide. Then he's going to hand it over to Michael Gellner, who's going to give a demonstration of how to set up the S3 connector, or at least some parts of it, and also discuss some related use cases. And then after that, we'll leave some time for questions. And you should also see in your GoToWebinar control panel a place where you can enter in questions. So feel free to enter in questions at any time, and we'll be answering them at the end. So I'm going to turn it over now to Steve Kent.
All right then, thank you very much, John. Hello everyone, my name is Steve Kent and I am the Digital Asset Manager here at Benefit Cosmetics in San Francisco. Today I'd like to talk to you about how Modula 4 worked with us here at Benefit to help solve an issue we had with being able to successfully share our product and marketing materials around the globe. As John mentioned, I'll show some before and after numbers and some buy-in and usage figures in the implementation. So before I get started here, let me just double check. John, can you see my screen and can you hear me okay?
I can, both.
Okay, great. So let's get started here. First, before we get into it, I'd like to just talk to everybody a little bit about Benefit Cosmetics and what we're all about here. And just one moment while I get the slide to move. One moment, please.
Yep, because it's a live webinar, there has to be some kind of glitch.
So let me here go to, all right. And all right, here we go. Okay, very good. So let's give first a little history lesson about what Benefit is all about, something we call the Benefit DNA. Benefit Cosmetics was founded by two twins from Indiana, Gene and Jane Ford, who came to San Francisco in the mid-70s and opened their first makeup store, which they called The Face Place in San Francisco's Mission District. Gene and Jane had a totally new approach to beauty, guided by their mantra that makeup doesn't have to be serious to look good. This all took place in San Francisco in the 1970s. This was a time of flower power and free thinking and peace and love, and these were just the right settings for the vision that Gene and Jane had in developing the company. Originally, The Face Place, that was the name of our company when we started, but in 1991 was renamed Benefit Cosmetics. And in 1999, Benefit was purchased by Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, LVMH, based out of Paris, who is the world's leading luxury goods group. So when you take all of those items, the fun and laughter, the bold girliness, the creative packaging and irreverent names, throw in a little dash of San Francisco and some fun and laughter, and that is the Benefit DNA. Just to talk a little bit on the business side of things, Benefit has over 3,800 doors worldwide. And we have 56 Benefit boutiques. We do not call them stores, they are boutiques, 44 of which are here in the USA. We are also found at over 900 traditional department store counters in the U.S. Again, that would be in most Macy's and JCPenney stores. And we're found at over 1,300 Sephora counters worldwide. You'll also find Benefit in Ulta stores, travel retail, duty-free, and other fine global beauty outlets around the world. And of course, you'll find us on the web at www.benefitcosmetics.com. All sorts of information, not just shopping, but tips and other information to really round out the entire Benefit experience. And here, let me just share with you some samples of our collateral material that we produce here at Benefit. These are some of our recent products and content that we need to share with all of our markets, because as I mentioned, Benefit is a global company. And we have strong global growth. You'll see since '99 and the acquisition by LVMH, we have had strong, steady growth each year, with 2014 projected to be our biggest year yet. In 2011, Benefit launched Hot Dam. So you may be wondering, what is Hot Dam? As John mentioned in our opening, we use Cumulus sites as our digital asset repository. But as I just mentioned in our opening here, everything here at Benefit is branded and has its own unique identification. So instead of just regular Cumulus sites, we call it Hot Dam. And through some customization, we've branded the site with our logo and colors to give it a real Benefit look. Now, as I mentioned, Benefit is a global brand. We do business in 43 countries around the world. So we're a global brand, but we had a global problem, and that was a download problem. We were able to ingest all of our content into the Cumulus system, but people around the world on far-reaching in Asia and Europe were having difficulty downloading that content. As you can see here, for a 100 megabyte file, it was taking our friends in Australia almost an hour to download one of those files. Slower times as well in other Asian and European countries. In some instances, in China and some locations in Southeast Asia, very large files would not download at all. So we have a pool of about 450, 500 global users. Over 75% of them are outside of North America. So when we rolled out the Hot Dam system, and then users discovered that it was kind of futile trying to download large content to their markets, they became very frustrated, and this in turn stalled our adoption of the Hot Dam system. So we consulted with Modular 4 for what we call the Amazon S3 global download solution. But wait, this is Benefit. So, we have to rebrand this and package it up. So it's actually the Glamazon S3 download solution. So let me kind of talk about some of the things that we got started. First, have a plan. You need to organize and know where your bottlenecks are, where you're having difficulties getting your content through to people, and coordinate that with the locations that S3 offers. In our case, it was logical to set up S3 buckets, this is what Amazon calls them, in Dublin, Ireland, and in Singapore. Those were the closest locations to our users. This system had to be easy to use. We did not want to, reinvent the way that we were already using a digital asset management system. So we utilize the scheduler a lot. It's constantly checking the system to see what content should be pushed up to S3. We have a lot of automation with triggers. We're using triggers because our content needs to be vetted for metadata and such. And so until that vetting is complete and we have a green, if you will, the content does not get pushed up. Also, if we were to rename an asset or check in a new version or update the asset somehow, we have triggers in place to check for those, so those updates can be pushed up as well. And of course, the workflow impact, we needed little to no change in the workflow. And fortunately, with the automation we've had, there is really no change for our users when they catalog our content. The content which is added still meets our publishing guidelines, and I have no extra steps as far as what our users need to do. So right now, let's take a look at the setup in action, and I will switch to my browser here and just log in. This is the front page of what most people would call sites. This is our hot damn page. Nope, I did not get the password right. Let's try again. All right, and here we are. We are live in our hot damn page here. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. Other than cosmetically, you can see the shell of the application still looks a lot like Cumulus sites. One special change here, you'll notice at the bottom we have these menus. And you'll see that they all say HD USA. Part of the S3 implementation was we asked Modular 4 that based on the user's location by IP, these menus would default to the location where the user was closest to. Now, obviously, I'm in San Francisco, so I get HD USA on my menus. If I were dialing in from London or someplace overseas, I may see Europe. Or if I'm in China or Australia or somewhere in Southeast Asia, I will see HD Asia in the menu when I first log in. So I don't have to change the menus at all. It's already been done for me. That's more of the automation that I talked about. This particular menu, we just have Europe in here. You have the option of uploading only to certain S3 zones if you want. In our use, we upload to all zones. And what this indicates is that my content, you can see it's quite large, almost a terabyte, has uploaded to Europe successfully and is in the process right now of copying over to Asia. And once that process is complete, I will then have the option to download from Asia as well. Content which has not been uploaded yet would be missing the drop-down menu option. So just to show you easily, again, you use sites, or in our case, HotDamn, just like a user normally would, and you look and you find your content, and maybe this particular item over here is going to be downloaded from HD USA. You just click on your download button. This is the usual download window that we're all used to looking at in sites. However, if, let's say, I'm from Europe and I'm going to download this item, again, I use the same download button. The window is a little bit different, just with a link. Click on this link to start the download. And I can click, and here my browser is now asking me to save my file. And if we just take a look at the information in the download window, you can see that it's a secure connection, and it's coming from Amazon Web Services from their S3 setup in our bucket, which is named HotDamn Europe, HD Europe. If I also wanted to, I can, again, same with Asia, same link window. If I click to download, the window will actually open again. This time I'm coming from Asia, from the S3 system. And if we just download that quickly, here is the file that I received, and this is the background picture that talks about Gene and Jane and the founding of Benefit. So let's switch back now to my slide presentation. Let's take a look at some numbers and see what things look like now after the S3 implementation. So all of my locations, the download time for a 100 megabyte file are vastly reduced. What was taking Australia almost an hour, 49 minutes, now takes them just over 3 minutes. In Hong Kong, 16 minutes, a minute 45, 2 minutes to Russia, 2.5 minutes to Greece. So all over, we did extensive testing both before and after, and we saw dramatically improved results with our downloads. We also audit our numbers each month. We're looking to see who's using what content, who's downloading what. In the first full month of implementation, 40% of all of our downloads came from S3. We normally get between 4,000 and 5,000 files a month, which are downloaded. In April, a majority of my download content came off of S3, a full 65%. I don't have it in the slide here, but I just ran the May 14 numbers, and the numbers are now up to 75%, which kind of matches my foreign user base. So I'm really getting good buy-in and adoption rate from my users. They're much happier that they can get their content, they can get it quicker, and they can get it when they need to get it. And it's really helping with our usage. We're seeing month after month record numbers with connections and record numbers of downloads because the system is so successful. In the future, we may expand to additional zones. We also do business in South America, so that may be the next zone that we go to. So even though we built this S3 system with just 2 zones, very easy to adapt it and add an additional zone or 2 if need be. So that now concludes my demonstration. My time is up. I thank you very much for yours, and I will now toss it to Michael Gellner from Modular 4 for more on how to implement S3. Michael.
Yes, Steve, thank you. This has been quite interesting also to really see the actual numbers of how the tool is behaving in the wild. Okay, so we've now seen the front end, and I would want to take you on a quick tour to well, just a small peek behind the scenes. I promise it's not going to be very technical, but I do want to give you some background information. Because the important thing is not only the users see that are downloading files, but how difficult is it for an admin or power user to really get the files up to S3, and how much overhead is there for the management. And really, hardly any at all. So now what is the native client? And if I'm looking at the record details, what happens with the S3 integration is that there is a couple of new features. There is, on the one hand, the S3 regions field, which lists all the regions you have. So in the case of Benefit, it's really 2. It's Asia, Europe. But of course, it could be 5, 7, or all 9 that are available. So it's really completely up to you or your customers how many regions you want to use. And then you got an S3 info field, which is really reflecting the current status of where your files are located. So you see for HD Europe, this file has been uploaded successfully, and for Asia, same thing. So this file is available on the 2 needed resources. So that means I can now easily go in and say, I don't want this to be in Asia anymore. So I just click the process button and close this window so that just that you can see in the background. So that job right now is going to be starting any second. And now you see it says deleting. So it's removing it from Asia, and it's still available in Europe. And you can easily revert that. And the nice thing is, since we already have this file in the cloud, we do not need to upload it again from your server. We're simply just transferring it from one Amazon server to the other, which is going to be much faster. So if I save this again, then again, we need to wait for the scheduler job to kick in. But a few seconds later, you will be seeing that it's now saying copying. And this really means it's copying the file from Europe to Asia, which should be a rather quick thing. So the good thing is that you have full control over which file is being uploaded to which location. So as I demonstrated, you can really go into each individual file and change that. But of course, this was really just to show you how that is working. What the background is. Of course, the goal is not for you having to go into each of your 10 or 100,000 records and change this individually for each record. There's really different ways how you can approach that. First of all, you can, of course, do a bulk edit. So that's one feature that Cumulus has. But much more likely, or the better scenario is really to make use of all the different workflow and automation tools that Cumulus has to offer to really fully automate that process. So there are, for example, the triggers available in Cumulus. You could really be using one catalog for your pre-production assets where you need an approval process really to make sure any marketing collateral is really good to go, ready to be published. And then based on a specific field, for example, you could have a ready to be published field, and then you could set up a trigger in Cumulus every time a person changes the status to ready to be published for a specific record, that this would automatically upload to Amazon. And this is just an example. You can, of course, build much more complex business rules around this. And this means that really nobody has to take care of manually uploading any files. These can be fully automated. In the scenario that Steve just presented, where really all of their files in that catalog should be uploaded, it's even easier because then you can use the default field value in Cumulus, which means as soon as somebody is cataloging a file, it will automatically be uploaded to S3 right away without anybody doing anything. But the good thing is that even so everything can be automated, you still have full control. So if you realize, oh, wait a minute, this file shouldn't even be on S3 or in a specific location, you can quickly take it down again, right? So you don't have to go through a process or start a workflow or anything. You simply go in, remove the checkboxes, and it's being removed from S3, right? So you have the full flexibility and still full control. And of course, I've shown that in the native client so that I can really show you all the different pieces. But of course, you don't have to use the native client. You've already seen this in action in Sites. I'm now going to switch over to our own web module. So the integration is available for Sites as well as our own web module. And the good thing is that you have full control over all of these different pieces from the web. This means I can be uploading files over the internet. Just gonna drop some files here. And of course, something's not working now. Perfect. That's always great when demoing. Okay, these files would be cataloged now. So let me actually, hold on, let me go back in. Let's see. Always great when doing a demo. 1 second, please. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's revert and start over. Okay, yeah, okay, so let me select a couple of files to be uploaded. And it really doesn't matter. It can be one file or several files. And no, it's not behaving. Okay. Okay, so but the good thing is, yeah, you can upload the files over the internet normally, not when doing a presentation, but normally you can. And of course, anything that gets cataloged, no matter if it's cataloged using Sites, web client, web module, native client, or any other tool you use to catalog in Cumulus, the files will be uploaded to S3. So yeah, the files would be showing up here, and we could be seeing how they're uploading. And same thing, you can also change the value. So if I go back to this record, what we've seen before, you have the same fields here. You see this is located in the Asia and Europe region. So I can simply go in and edit this and really say I only want to have this in Europe. So as soon as I save that and I go back to the native client so we can see what's happening, then as soon as the scheduler kicks in, then, okay, this is working perfect. So then we see this is being deleted, and it's gone now. So this is really fully integrated into the whole Cumulus ecosystem. So it really doesn't matter if you're using web client, web module, or anything else. So for controlling this and for downloading, you can be using sites and web module, and of course the native client. Then to really change settings or look at the different settings. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. So as we've seen for the automatic uploads, it's possible to choose from any regions available for S3. So it's really completely up to you how many regions you want to use. If, as in benefits scenario, there is only a few continents that you need to serve files to, then of course you can pick fewer. If you have lots of users really completely all over the world, then you can be adding more. And you can always change your mind at any given point in the future. So you can add more regions or remove them and really adapt that to your needs. Of course, you can also choose any combination of regions, so it's not an all or nothing thing. You can really upload your marketing material for Asia just to the Asian servers, and the European material just to European servers. You're not forced to always upload everything to all servers. And last, what we've seen in the demo is that you can really choose the different region or regions per record. You don't have to, right? It can be automated and it can be for all records, but this is the level of control you have, that you really can specify per individual record where it should be located. What we've also seen in the demo is that the files are being transferred to S3 only once. If you then decide you want to add more regions that the file should be located in, then it's simply being copied within the Amazon world, which is, of course, much faster and takes a load off your local servers. Then you can trigger that upload manually or based on simple or also very complex business rules. So you don't have to do this manually, so this can be completely automated. There's also, well, there is a restriction on file size from the S3 side, but it's, I don't remember exactly, it's like 30 gigabyte or 50 gigabyte per individual file. And whatever S3 is supporting, we are also supporting. So really, if you want to upload even hundreds of megabytes or gigabytes per file, this is not really an issue. The integration really does take care of doing an automatic resume and making sure the file does get uploaded. So then the next thing is the other side for the end users, the file distribution. The important part is that the region closest to the user that has logged in, is chosen automatically. Of course, as you've seen in Steve's demo and my demo, that there is a drop-down, so they can override the suggestion, but they don't have to, right? There is not an additional click necessary. The closest location is simply chosen for them. If they click on download, that location is used. If there's any need to change that, the user can, of course, change that. Then, yeah, there is no magic behind that. It's simply using the user's IP address to determine where the user is connecting from. The important thing is that this is not a static list and that we're not statically mapping IP addresses and countries to Amazon regions, because, well, since you can be choosing which regions you want to use individually, you can also control which regions are, which countries are mapped to which region. So if there's a specific reason for you to have one specific country rather download files from a different region, then you can really configure that. Then the important thing is that for local users, so the users within your office, within your immediate region, nothing does change. You're still keeping your local server, right? So it's not like the people in the office suddenly have to download all the files from S3. They still can download the files from your local server so that they get like the fastest speed possible. But once they're on the road and they're leaving the country, then they can be using the S3, so they can always choose the fastest way of downloading for them. The side effect of using this S3 integration is, of course, that this is basically an additional backup for your local files. So if there should always be an issue with the local file, it's corrupt, broken, and you don't happen to have a backup or you cannot get to it quickly, we simply just log into S3 and get the file from there. And of course, this can also be integrated with Amazon's service for Glacier, which is kind of their archiving system. So if you really wanted to use this as an archival system on top of the file distribution, then this is really possible. The integration is already prepared for that. So if your needs go in that direction, then yeah, please also talk to us. Okay,
so
perfect.
Thanks, Michael. So yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar with Module 4, we're a leading provider of DAM and workflow solutions. We have over 100 clients in a variety of fields, including marketing, retail, entertainment, higher education, and government. We're celebrating our 10th anniversary this year. We were founded in 2004, and we have offices in San Francisco and Berlin. In addition to Canto, our partners include Picture Park, Woodwing, To Imagine for their web-to-print solution, as well as Adobe for their digital publishing suite. And we have other products as well, including Video Module, Watermark add-on, reporting and analysis, e-commerce, some visual search tools as well. Information about all of those are available on our website. So now we can throw it open for questions. And let's see, we've got a few. Okay, so the first one is, do customers have to set up their own S3 account with Amazon? So Michael, I'll toss that one to you.
Yes, yeah, so basically the idea is that the relationship between Amazon would be between the customer and Amazon. So it's really, we can, of course, can help with that and really basically configure it. But the account should be the customer's account. This also means that the customer really does have full control. And if they do already have an account, there is no additional account needed or something. So really an existing account can be reused. So this also means that, of course, any charges that are imposed by Amazon S3 services are not invoiced by us or marked up or anything. This is really whatever Amazon is charging for the services is what you as the customer would have to pay for. So really we are just getting involved for the integration itself and for setting this up and configuring and of course maintaining it. But of course any other cost for S3 is then really on top of that.
Okay, great. The next one, and I guess this one would be for Steve. How long did it take for the initial upload to S3?
Well, when we were ready to go, it was, we had about 10,000 assets, which in size was just a little bit under 1 terabyte. We really have some large content. And I would say approximately the overall upload time took about 6 weeks. This is normal Monday through Friday in the office. Maybe queuing up some files over the weekend. So not a continuous flow, but enough for us to get the content up and look at it in batches as we went and prepped the system for launch. Okay,
great. Let's see, another one. What happens if you rename an asset? So I guess, Michael, that would be for you.
Yes, okay, yeah. Yeah, we haven't really gone into all the details. So of course, the integration does not only take care of uploading the files and copying the files or then even deleting the files. But it does really also make sure it does update the file. So if you change the file, then the integration checks if the file, the local file is newer, if it's a changed file, and then it re-uploads it. Also, if you're just changing the name, and yeah, that was the question, that this is also something that the integration does take care of, and it's really smart enough to distinguish a renamed file from a completely new file. So in a scenario where, for example, you're using Vault or something like that, where you do a check-in and the file has been renamed and it is a different file, then of course that's a different story, right? So there is really the different scenarios where a file has not changed at all, then of course nothing needs to be done. If the file has just been renamed, but it is the same file, then we are also just renaming the file on S3. So if a user is downloading the file, they're really getting it with the proper and current name. If, however, the name has been changed and the file has been updated in the same run, then we are simply re-uploading the file so that it is up to date and has the latest name. So really the integration has been optimized to do as few uploads of actual files, really actual moving of bytes as possible, to take as much load off your server as possible, and really keeping your server free of any unnecessary bandwidth.
Okay. And here's a question. Let's see. Any possibility of an integration where we upload assets directly to Amazon S3, then a record and a small proxy file are pushed back to Cumulus? We cannot catalog very large 10 gigabyte and up files from Cumulus client to the server.
Well, this is not covered by the product, but that would certainly be possible. That's something that could be done. And I guess, we would really have to talk about the details to see what's the best approach. I could really see a workflow where the files, where you have really the proxy and the high-res file sitting next to each other, and then there would be a process that is really taking the high-res file and pushing it to S3, and at the same time cataloging the proxy, and then really also then updating that record for the proxy, what's happening with the high-res, so that there is really a record and feedback to the user. So yeah, it's certainly not coming out of the box with this integration, but it would definitely be possible, yes.
Okay, and we can follow up offline with the questioner about that.
Yes.
Let's see, and this I think is likely going to be the last question that we can answer during the webinar. Is this compatible with Vault and versioning?
Yes. So, well, actually, there's two parts. It doesn't really matter where your files are stored, if they're in Vault, if they're in a central asset location on a file server. They could even be stored on an FTP server. So as long as Cumulus does have access to the physical file, then it can be uploaded to S3. So that is completely transparent and it's completely integrated with Cumulus. There's no issue there. And as I just said in the previous question, also, yeah, if you do any renaming or check-in, check-out with the Vault, then the file on S3 does also get updated properly. The important thing to note is that on S3, we're only keeping the latest version. So we're not keeping the whole history of the file, the previous versions on S3, but just the latest. That's the one that would be available for download.
Okay, great. Well, that's about it for the time that we have. Thanks everyone for joining today's webinar. Within the next 2 days, everyone who registered for this webinar will be getting a follow-up email that will have a link to a video of this webinar that you can review or share with others. Again, thanks Michael, thanks Steve, and thank you all for attending. Bye-bye.